Hello, everybody. DJ here again, and I've got a lot to say today, and I've said some already, but I wanted to bring this to your attention because I find all these new laws and these proposed new laws are very worrying, and I find that people are not waking up to what is being enacted in their name. And one of the things I want to talk about today is I want to address the act of assisted dying, which is becoming law in Britain and is already law in Canada and other parts of the world. And the result is a progressive diminution of life. Life once held within Britain was sacrosanct, and within the Western world has taken a downturn into the rabbit hole of despair, as far as I'm concerned. Life became negotiable. Then at a grave risk when abortion was deemed legal, so that a life within the womb is not considered a life. And even though a heartbeat can be detected, you can detect the heartbeat. They can hear it. And you know that prospective mothers go into hospital and they have a scan. They put jelly on the belly, and they put the scanner on. And they say, yeah, there's your baby. And they show this tiny little lump of cells. But there's a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. And you know it's alive. But of course, you're allowed to kill it. Because life has no longer got any value. You can't see the life except through the scans, so it doesn't mean anything to you, but it's there. But we're not going to talk about abortion. It's just that because the abortion became legal, it opened up the floodgates for other ways of killing us off. I've got this sort of throat at the moment, so please excuse me. Now, along comes another law to provide another means of terminating life in the form of the Assisted Dying Act. It's not been enacted just yet, but it's in its final stages in England and Wales and Scotland, because Scotland has different laws. Or even though they're in the UK, they have different laws. Don't ask me why at this stage, but they have different laws. But anyway, the Assisted Dying Bill would be strengthened by plans for cases to be signed off by experts. Now, the Assisted Dying Bill going through Parliament, it stipulates it's got to be a senior judge in charge of a panel. But now the MP who brought the bill to Parliament is now agreeing that it doesn't have to be a judge, but a team of experts. Now, that's worrying in itself. I mean, experts, I've seen experts on scientific and medical that say, oh, this is good. And then a few years later, they go, oh, we were wrong. Too late then if you've put somebody to death. But let's see. The proposed law for England and Wales currently says a High Court judge must check each person is eligible and has not been coerced in making the decision to die. Well, that makes sense. But Kim Ledbetter, the Labour MP proposing the bill, will suggest replacing this with a panel of experts who would oversee the applications. It comes after concerns were raised over the court's capacity to hear such individual cases. See, they're thinking there won't be enough judges. So, let's get rid of them judges then, because there won't be enough to decide whether it's legal or not. So we'll let experts decide whether it's legal to assist someone to die. Now, assisting, I'm going to go through that in a bit later, but in this post, but it worries me. It really worries me. Now, it comes after concerns were raised the court's capacity to hear each individual case. Well, we know that. Conservative MP Danny Kruger, a leading critic of the bill, said while he welcomed the idea of more experts being involved in the process, he questioned whether they would be as impartial like a judge would be. He said concerns about the court's capacity to hear the individual cases was a problem for the bill, the Act, which should not be proceeding without adequate judicial safeguards. Well, of course, but it shouldn't be considered in the first place, according to my mind. But secular world has decided, okay, we can kill people, we can kill unborn children, so let's go ahead with it. And so he's saying, okay, but let's have a professional job. Ledbetter, the MP that's putting this bill forward, Kim Ledbetter, the Labour MP, has said, and now get this because this is really important to my conversation. Ledbetter said the panel of experts would be professional people doing a professional job. And she said some would say the bill going forward has already too many safeguards. Safeguards, too many safeguards in protecting life. There's too many safeguards. That shows the mental capacity, the mental thinking of what's on her mind. That there's too many safeguards to safeguard people from being coerced into dying. But that's her mind, certainly not mine. Meanwhile, in Scotland, that operates within the UK but under different laws, an investigative journalist, his name is Neil Mackay, went about interviewing disabled persons on their views to the proposed Assisted Dying Act in Scotland, to most likely to introduce into Scottish law, and discovered a dread and fear. The disabled people in Scotland were dreading this law. They were fearing this law. Mr. Mackay, who is positively in favour of assisted dying, so comes to the idea without prejudice, but his views were transformed as he went about after his interviewing of those who would be faced with the decision made for them. These views were published within the Herald, it's a Scottish newspaper. The account on the Sunday in a long red heading, abused and terrified. That's the heading, abused and terrified. Inside Scotland's brutalised disabled community. I quote from this discourse. I was pleased to see, this is his words. I'm saying I quote from this discourse, but his words are, I was pleased to see it affected many readers, though horrified at how pitiless some members of the public were, deeming the disabled a drain on resources. This is why the disabled are worried. They are deemed a drain on resources. So we've got a financial problem here. They're classed as a drain on resources. You can imagine carers saying, why don't you kill yourself? You're a drain on resources. I've got to keep spending all my time with you. I've got to spend my money with you. You're taking social security when other people who are not working could have it. Here's the rub. The disabled can and will be coerced into being put to death as they are bullied into agreeing to die because they are convinced they're a drain on these resources required by their loved ones, that they're a drain, a burden on their carers. This is the result of a denigration of life. It's balanced. Life is balanced against finance and the effort of others. Life is being devalued, which is what I started this post with. I believe that life is being devalued and, it's down to finance and the effort of others. Abortion. Many women abort their children because we can't afford another child. Oh, I'm a single mother. I can't afford to have a child. It will ruin my life. Then don't get pregnant. There's so many ways to prevent pregnancies. Abstinence is one. Condoms is another. There's lots of ways that can be used, but going ahead and then saying, well, I can't afford the consequences, then don't set the consequences up. Same as death, assisted death. Do not say you can't afford to keep your relative alive, that it's too much of a trouble to go and visit them, to do little things for them. Totally wrong. Life should be sacrosanct. That's my mind. You can have your comments at the end of this post. Please do your comments, and I'm always willing and to listen and read what you have to say. So, Mr. McCoy, that's the journalist, went on, I've supported the right to die laws for decades. So, as I say, he was pro-assisted dying. I view the passing of such legislation as the last great human battle, giving citizens autonomy over their bodies and freeing us from needless enduring pain in our final days. Evidently, I've read reports of disabled people saying assisted dying legislation would lead to a dystopian horror. These are the people that are expected to take advantage of killing themselves and being helped to kill themselves. They think it's a dystopian horror movie where they're encouraged by blind bureaucracy to take their lives. But it seemed outlandish and wild to represent, wild, a wild exaggeration, he was saying. He found it, that they were saying, oh, it's dystopian horror movie, to think we've got to kill ourselves. And he's saying he thought it's an outlandish and wild exaggeration. Then I spent time, he goes on, then I spent time with folk like Teresa Burke, who heads up Glasgow's Disability Alliance. Teresa has multiple sclerosis and represents 6,000 disabled people, so she knows what she's talking about. She and her members genuinely dread the passing of assisted dying laws, and they're not exaggerating their fears. Life is a gift. I've finished quoting him now. Life is a gift, and ending of life is a sin. Whether you believe in God or not, pure morals dictate no one should take another's life. To assist in taking a life still makes a person guilty of enabling a life to be taken. If you're assisting it, you're enabling it. To persuade another by comments and actions or the restrictions of life-sustaining care makes that person a participant in ending a life without the cause and of saving the life. You cannot be found, in my mind and in God's mind, if you're a Christian or any other religion that believes in God, then you know that if you enable someone to die, if you assist someone to die, if you actually refuse the medical treatment they need, refuse food and liquids, then you're assisting the dying of God's creatures, God's humans. And you may not believe in God. You might think that bit that I've just said is ridiculous, and that's up to you. I'm not here to proclaim the God, to anyone who doesn't want to know, and I'm not pushing it. I'm just saying, if you assist someone to die, you are guilty of murder. Now, comments, I said, I want to hear your comments. I would love you to subscribe to this channel because it doesn't cost you a penny. It doesn't cost you a cent. It doesn't even cost you a rupee. It's totally free. So do subscribe. And if you like these short videos giving you the news and my opinions and the opportunity to give your opinions in the comments, then please, please, please press the subscribe button, press the like button and give your comments. And if your comments require my reply, I'm quite willing to give you my reply. So until the next video, lots of these videos are coming out because there's lots of things happening in this world. I keep on, we're losing our right to think. We're using our rights to write about what we think, to express our thinking, and don't allow it to go. Comment, because it's a right that's been taken away from us. So do comment, do like the video, and do subscribe. So until the next one, let's say goodbye for now.